As we move quickly on to heat number 3, Océane Michelon, we know her prowess and well, what she can do on roller skis. It was one of the big indicators that she would go on to have such an impressive season as she did last time round, with some of her early season and summer indicators on roller skis. So Océane also going in this one, and a big smile from Ingrid Tandrevold. She'll be hoping to find that extra touch of consistency this season. Such a challenging season last time round, personally, having to battle with health issues, but back, and she'll be hoping better than ever. Alongside her as we make our way forward. Anna Magnusson has one World Cup win to her name. She wears bib number 34. Amy Berserger, 25-year-old, made her way onto a World Cup podium for the very first time in Ruhpolding last season in the individual competition. Now Océane Michelon, the under-23 Globe winner, in a really tight battle. And alongside her, Selena Grossier, one World Cup win to her name. And you can hear the round of applause as she's introduced to the crowd here in Munich. She's only 21 years old, Selena Grossier. On to watch in this season's under-23 competition. Third last season, with, of course, the woman to one side of her taking the Globe title in the youth discipline.
Definitely one of the aspects of biathlon that makes it so exciting is the age disparities. Still have success young or as they become more seasoned biathletes.
So the crowd count us down. We fly through the heats here at the Loop 1 Festival. And heat 3 is underway. Michelon wearing bib 31, Selena Grossier bib 32, and it is the German who on home soil has pushed her way to the front.
Yeah, a nice aggressive start there, definitely leading with intent, and she'll be supported around the track with the cheers of her supporters, who are there in their thousands. And it can't be understated how much effect that actually has on you when you have so many supporters screaming your name, the intensity, the loudness, and it really does have an incredible effect on your physiology.
Already seen plenty of flags as well for Ingrid Tandrevold, an athlete who seems to collect fans from every nation wherever she goes. Of course, publishes so much of her life through her blogs on social media and on YouTube, and well, we see plenty of fans supporting her from various nations. Here are the lucky losers so far. The time to achieve is 14 minutes 3 seconds 0.5. Hetix Volz, Bornikova and Lotte Lee, the three who currently occupy those places. So keep a note, 14 minutes and 3 seconds is what the lucky losers will be requiring.
And as you're saying there about the international fan base for some of these biathletes, particularly Tandrevold, I would say that it's that's fairly applicable across the board. Biathlon seems to bring in fans who just love the sport. I can speak to Norwegians who love it when other nations get on the podium. And it's not just testament to how great a sport this is and how real the sentiment of the biathlon family, which is something of an actualized slogan that the biathlon, the IBU, like really attribute to their philosophy. I would say that it's fantastic that so many supporters really just want success from a diverse number of nations.
Well, it keeps it fresh and it keeps it exciting, and when you look in particular at those who have already qualified for today's finals, the diversity of the nations represented is already clear to see, and it'll be exciting to see who can add to that on the women's side as we're into now our penultimate heat, and this is the 1 kilometre mark, and there's not much at all separating the athletes as they come through. The top 11 separated by 5 seconds just outside. With Selena Grossier leading the way from Océane Michelon. Amy Berserger up there, just 1 second behind is Ingrid Tandrevold.
interestingly, a little bit slower, 3 seconds slower than the second heat. And much faster than the first heat by just over 11 seconds faster than heat 1. So that is, it wasn't just a false sense there or perception. We were right to say that the first heat was incredibly relaxed on the first lap. But despite that fact, we still have Lotte Lee coming in as the first lucky loser, implying that too much intensity on that first lap does pay a price on the legs as the race goes on. So going a bit slower doesn't necessarily have too much of an impact, at least by that data point.
No, and I do wonder whether the battle in the closing stages of race number 1 also helped the likes of, you know, in particular, of course, we see Lotte Lee there in the current lucky loser position. The fact that there was so much action, so much to race for right until the end, no doubt would have helped her tenfold in the position that she is now in as they come into shooting 1 in heat number 3, the first of 2 shooting stages, and they'll drop down into the prone position. And Océane just losing her glasses as she prepares to raise the rifle to her eye.
Hear the clatter of roller skis on this very specifically made surface as they come to a quick stop.
Weidel of Germany making a quick start. It's a miss for Michelon. Berserger has a miss and 1 hit. Weidel going incredibly well, so is Scotland of Sweden. She's 5 for 5 and she'll be away quickly. It's a miss for Grotian. Michelon now away, but she'll have to make a visit to the penalty loop. Gislova going well. Magnussen also 5 for 5. And well, as we've seen so many times here at Loop 1, the landscape of this race flipped right on its head.
Yeah, fantastic shooting there and quick shooting from a large number with Scottheim, 2 Swedes featuring in that statistic. Magnussen and Scottheim both doing very well. Michelon coming out just a little bit behind, 11.8 seconds back for the French.
Here's a look at the shooting, the target of Scottheim, who is quick as well, as you've already mentioned, Scott, but that has served us so well.
Yeah, being fast is one huge component of biathlon, but it does come with a cost. Some of the fastest skiers that we've ever seen, and just taking a look at Weidel's shooting group there, all very grouped well, but to the low right of the target. But yeah, skiing fast, vital, but being able to maintain good shooting accuracy is even more important. It's much greater cost when the targets don't go down than when they do if you are skiing slowly. So yeah, huge importance.
So 5 athletes, perfect through the first visit to the range. Only Amy Berserger missing more than 1. There's our leading trio. Scottheim, Weidel, and Gislova make their way around the Olympic Park.
And you can hear the different textures of sounds from the audience as so many people coming out and almost having their own preparation for the season, where you can expect all the German stadiums to be completely filled with cowbells and horns and a diverse number of spectators. It's such a popular sport here in Germany.
Well, interesting to see where this front trio now stand, because it is Arne Magnussen who's moved into the top 3, with just a little bit dropping down the order and able to stick with the pace. And you can see it quite well visually represented there, coming out of shooting 1, just 3.3 seconds behind Scottheim, and she's dropped all the way down now. She lost almost 10 seconds on that second lap.
So interesting as well, actually, that even though she is losing time, they are still significantly ahead at this 2.8 kilometer mark of Heat 1. So you can expect, especially with great shooting in this heat so far, there to be a lot of contenders for those lucky loser spots. So although this three up at the front look to be doing very well, and of course Biathlon will see the great shuffle come after the stand, we can expect to see some drama from those further back contending for those lucky loser spots.
Yeah, looking at the course names of Océane, Michelon and Tandrevold, they're still within 15 seconds. And we know around maybe the 14, 15 second mark, that's all it is for a penalty loop. So it could all change as you can hear the dull thuds of the roller skis as they make their way over the purple carpets here into the range for one final time.
So now they'll be trying to regain their breath after that intense loop. Magnusson having the advantage of the slipstream. Drills they have done thousands of times, a process they have done thousands of times, but now the intensity of the moment will be bearing down upon them as the first shot goes by Scottheim, but it's a miss. Vidal manages to get the first three targets down accurately and quickly. Magnusson managing to match it, but Vidal misses her final shot. The crowd sigh, and Magnusson also missing her final shot, leaving the door open.
But the door is not being walked through by either Michelon or Tandrevold, who both have to go around the penalty loop 3 times.
Wow. And Wagner of Austria managing to get her 5 out of 5. She's going to see the leader dancing up this hill. Vidal there just pulling away. Baserga also going 5 for 5. She was 28 seconds down at the 2.8 kilometer mark. A good comeback from her.
And so Wagner now up into third. Scottheim not far behind her. But Anna Vidal leading the way. PA announcer says she's supercharged. She's only missed one. And she does have an advantage of 6.3 seconds. Now 29 years old. She was 11th on the IBU Cup total score last season. Only making 2 World Cup teams in the 24-25 World Cup season.
And what a shuffle we saw there. That's another great example of that final shot in biathlon being such high pressure. 2 biathletes both having hit the first 4 and failing to get the final target, by which point the routine is in place and statistically you're likely to get it, but you could see the disappointment there from Vidal as the target did not go down. The crowd equally disappointed.
It's still fast enough to open up a significant advantage even with the penalty loop. And well, there it's just an indication of how accurate her first 4 shots were, and with pace as well. That's the miss of Magnusson. Sits in second and has quickly closed the gap to Anna Vidal.
The targets, of course, being about the size of a small dish, and interesting to see some of the targets when the groups are, as you can see there from Wagner, a very tight group, but only using half of that target, only the right-hand side of it. And that's something you see quite often when the patterns group, either on the top left, top right, and that is as a result of the pulling of the trigger, the pressure on the trigger, and the entry onto the target, something that is generally corrected for in training. When the grouping is off to the side, it has nothing to do with wind in the stand shooting, only mainly the aim of the biathlete.
So now into the lead goes Anna Magnusson as they approach the 4.6 kilometer checkpoint. Glued to her back is Vidal. Scottheim's worked her way up past Wagner, who is left trailing, but she cannot take her foot off the pedal here. She needs to keep going.
And it's close. Lotte Lee is the fastest lucky loser, and at this point was 12 12:35.5. That was at the 4.6. And Wagner is 12:34.3, which is just a second faster than the fastest lucky loser.
Just 1 second in it. She needs to keep pushing. She might feel like, of course, the chances of qualifying automatically have long slipped away from her. And if Wagner can keep pushing here, Wagner, she could find herself into the final in one of the lucky loser spots. It is all tied up ahead of her. And as we've seen with the other heats that have come before, there won't be too much in terms of jostling for the line. Anna Magnusson leads them around the corner into the stadium where they are welcomed. And the roar is for the athlete wearing 39 who will come across the line in third. Anna Vidal, who has booked her place in the final of the Loop 1 Festival. And they're 10.3 seconds behind the winning time is Kara Wagner. Now where will that place her? 13. 57.7. How does that compare to Lotte Lee's time?
Gauthier in front of her home crowd, missing 35.9 seconds back and crossing just ahead of Michelon with 4 misses. So she'll be a little disappointed with that. It's a tough one, high stakes, and Tandrevold, another, in fact, 3 of my top, certainly top 5, all finishing outside the top 5. So again, another slight unexpected outcome. I'd say very unexpected outcome. Totally different surface to be roller skiing over for many of these biathletes. This purple carpet simulating well the smoothness of concrete, but safe to roller ski on, safe to sprint on, but certainly a different sensation underfoot.
Another roar for Anna Vidal. Her name is read out over the tannoy. A controlled race, just 1 miss for Magnusson. 20th in the women's total score competition last season. As we look back at some of the highlights from the penultimate heat of the women's race, as we come ever closer to completing our 15 athletes who will race later on this afternoon in the final of the women's race here at the Loop 1 Festival.
A great day for Sweden there, 2 in the top 3, 2 in the top 2 I should say. And Skottheim always doing well in these slightly unique races. When she's brought in, she tends to perform, but struggles with a very competitive Swedish team to stay up there on at the top, the sharp end of Swedish competition. But perhaps this is an opening for her as she manages to really cut by. That's a fantastic overtake there. Not an easy place to do it with the gravel on the left-hand side of the asphalt and the metal fencing on the right-hand side, making this narrow spot particularly challenging. But I was fascinated there, Ellen, to see them all fighting so hard to get to the finish line. When there was such a gap, they were all guaranteed to get to the final, but yet still really pushing every single meter to get across the line.
Yeah, it was interesting to see, potentially wanting to impact the seeding later on for the final, which will be played out over 5 laps of course, 1.8 kilometres, 4 shooting stages. We start with the prone shooting stages before we move into 2 standings. And of course, as with today, no reloads either. There was confirmation of the results from our 3rd and penultimate heat.